Golem. Golem. No, Golem. 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 I'm going to screw it up. I know I'm going to screw it up. Golem. 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 Let's do this. Hello friends, welcome back to the show. So glad to see you all once again as we jump into the third episode of Batman Beyond. I keep wanting to say Batman Brave and the Bold. I've been watching that too, but maybe I'll review those. But anyway, we're talking about Batman Beyond. If you're new here, please hop below and hit the subscribe button because as I mentioned, we're going through and reviewing each and every episode of Batman Beyond now 21 years later, looking at them from the perspective of an adult now, and particularly an adult like me that didn't necessarily watch the show when it was originally on. So I have kind of a unique perspective on that. But I am a true Batman fan, so hop below, hit the subscribe button and the like button while you're at it. Might as well. Why not? And if you're returning here, thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed the past couple episodes because today we're jumping into the third episode of the series, Golem, which originally aired on February 7th, 1999. I think it's Golem. Golem? Golem. Golem. Go with that.
Galvanic lifter machine, GLM, Golem. It's a robot, 2 stories tall, 13 tons, and this jerk loses it.
So we're still early in the series of the first season here, and I think that they're doing some work to try to find their footing. And like I mentioned in the last episode, if you haven't seen that, check that out up here. Is that they were tasked with having to create new villains. And I think, too, that they're dealing with a younger Batman, and they're dealing with a younger story having to do with Batman. And so, obviously, there's going to be some stories centered around the age group of Batman being Terry McGinnis now, a younger teenager in high school. And so there's some high school drama that's been going on there. And actually, just as I'm thinking about it, I was 16 when this show came out. I'm Terry McGinnis's age, so he'd be my age now. Well, of course, he's 20 years. I digress. I'm getting way carried away. But we're going to talk a little bit about how this episode is a little bit more of a teen drama than a regular Batman show. But we'll get into all that right after our 60-second Beyond bomb goes off. I'm going to try to give you a complete rundown of the episode, because a complete synopsis. Let's see if I can do this one. Just an average day at Hamilton Hill High School as we meet Willie, the nerd of the school, and he's getting pushed around by some bullies, and he's trying to ask out this girl, and, oh, you never amount to anything. And then Willie goes to visit his dad at a construction site, and there's this big robot thing that's moving stuff, and he goes, what should I do? And his dad goes, oh, you got to hit him back. His dad's not very good. And he goes, oh, you got to hit him back. Oh, that gives me an idea. So he goes and he steals this robot thing, and he goes and he attacks the bullies and crushes the car, and then he goes and asks out the girl, and the girl wants to go with him. So they're at the dance, and Batman meanwhile is going, oh, that thing's stolen. I got to help get that back. And then he's at the dance with Dana and the kid, and he gets thrown in some water from the bullies, and then he gets fused with this robot, and the robot attacks again, and Batman comes in and saves the day and puts him away, and then the kid is sentenced to 3 years in juvie, and then he smiles because now all the kids fear him. Oh yeah.
Gotcha now, stupid little bat.
So yeah, this starts out a little bit like a teen drama there in high school. And again, it's kind of necessary because these are the stories that Terry McGinnis as a 16-year-old, and I think that I have a hard time recognizing him as a 16-year-old. I think he acts older for his age, but the truth is this is kind of a Spider-Man sort of dynamic where he is a high schooler with regular teenage problems, except he's not the nerd. He's sort of the good kid in class and the protector of the nerds, and kind of sticks up for Willie.
Lay off him, Nash.
So this is a necessary thing, and I don't know, maybe I should have been watching it when I was that age, because like I just realized I was about Terry's age when the show came out. So maybe I would have been able to connect more with him. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm great. Just great.
And I don't say that this was a teenage drama as a negative thing per se, because it's just a different story. And I think that, you know, we've got Batman, a teenage Batman, And so it's only fitting that he should be going up against other teenage villains. And they don't get stuck in that, but they got to do a couple episodes like that. And the motivation of this character is great. This isn't the bully, the bad kid that Batman's going up against, but it's the nerdy kid, the kid that's getting beat up by bullies and is lashing out, which is actually a very deep kind of plot to this, that we get to see Willie's father, who is a terrible father with terrible advice.
You listen to me, I'm not raising no wuss.
And he takes that too far, and he gets this machine from his dad, steals it from his dad, that he's able to finally be strong and mighty, and acts out because these kids were bullying him and beating up on him. And that's, I mean, that topic goes a lot further, and I think at the time that this episode came out, that wasn't as talked about as it is now. And coming from somebody that was in high school during this period of time, I mean, yeah, we knew bullying was bad, and we knew that you should be nice to people, and you know, I was taught if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And certainly we saw cliques, and there was the jocks and the nerds and things like that. I don't remember many, if any, like anti-bullying campaigns or assemblies that we had. It was just sort of like a talked about thing, like, you know, don't do that, and be nice to everybody and that sort of thing. But certainly now in today's culture, and I certainly think it's gotten worse with social media and the pressures of that, and the vanity and putting things out there, and kind of the cyberbullying element to it. I think that it's a lot more prevalent than it was when I was in school, although it certainly was there, and it was certainly as damaging. But I think that now, because kids can hide behind the internet and don't have to insult somebody to their face, but can hide behind a keyboard, it's a little bit more rampant. And so it's a good thing that there's more awareness out about that. But I say all that just to say that I think that this episode, although they take kind of a lighter take on this, and don't really, you know, they very much set Willie up as, oh, he got bullied, and now he's a bad guy, or now he did bad things, and he gets put in juvie, and you know, has that maniacal smile there at the end. I think if this episode was made today, I think they would have went further down the path of, like, we need to see the bully come to realize that, oh, I was a cause of what Willie became and what he did, and they certainly don't deal with that in this episode. But yeah, sort of a big topic.
Hit him where it hurts.
And speaking of bullies, the casting of Seth Green as this bully, like, this is a role that Seth Green could never play in person, because he's just physically not set up as the bully type, if there is such a thing. But he has a great voice for it, and it was very fitting for that character to, you know, to have his voice coming out of there. But just kind of a unique thing of how you can get away with playing characters by voice that you couldn't get away with playing in person.
But you are, McGinnis. Someday.
Also, dealing with the future of this, it's nice to see the evolution of the Bat Tech, which again is another component of the Batman universe that's always been appealing to me, and I think appealing to a lot of people, is that because he doesn't have any superpowers per se, that he's has tech and his utility belt and his the gadgets and things like that, and to see those evolve, that now we're dealing with technology that can exist in the future, like the stealth ability that the suit has, which now, I mean, there are some versions of that used by the military now, not to that extent, but some versions of that I think that they're working on or developing. And I think that something like that will be more commonplace. Maybe by 2039 they will be, but certainly going that direction. So it's neat to see the evolution of the tech in that, and seeing how they utilize that into the stories.
This camouflage option really soars.
And I can see that this show may have some of the challenges that what I like to call the Smallville problem. If you watch Smallville, the TV show from the WB or whatever it was called then, it was like every episode, especially in the first season, every episode was sort of an origin story for the villains, and they were all tied on this one central idea of the kryptonite being in the school. And it was just sort of a necessary evil as we developed this kind of cornucopia of, wow, that was weird. This cornucopia of characters to work off from, this palette of characters, if you will, that we fall into a little bit of that trap of each episode needing to be a origin story. Although the last episode, Blackout, was not necessarily an origin story of Blackout. She just sort of existed, which I kind of like. But I hope that they find ways of working around that, because, as you know, the origin stories not necessarily, sometimes just feel like a unnecessary wasted episode to just spend it all on, oh, here's where this character came from, so that next time we use them, you know their backstory.
Make me laugh. What's 2 stories tall and eats jokers? What? Him.
Although in reference to the animation style in this episode, when they're at the dance, is everybody wearing green clothes, or is that the color of the lights? And also, did Terry not get the memo to dress up?
Sorry,
And it was a little confusing to me what, and I watched it back twice, and maybe I'm missing something, but how the robot Golem gets infused with Willie. Willie gets wet.
He's all wet. Look at him. What is he?
It's Willie.
Wet Willie.
Willie gets wet, falls into the water from the dock, which, by the way, seems like a really bad idea for a place to have a dance is on the dock on a pier. That ranks right up there with It's a Wonderful Life, having the dance on the basketball court that opens up and there's the pool below there. Anyway, but so I'm a little confused at how it works that Willie gets wet and then fuses with Golem. I keep wanting to say Golem. Lord of the Rings ruined it for me. But he infuses with him just by getting wet. Is it like a Gremlins thing where, they get wet and they replicate, they reproduce? Or is it some more electronic thing? I don't know. I was a little confused by that. If you know the answer of what I'm missing there, let me know in the comment section below.
How are you doing this?
With supreme satisfaction.
But I do have to say, as far as villains go, it's a neat concept. I love the idea of like the weak kid, the meek and mildest of us all, being powerful because he's linked to this larger force, this larger robot that can do all the things that he imagines he wants to do, but physically can't. So he has this other entity that does that for him. Sort of a ventriloquist and dummy kind of relationship, but not quite, but similar in that same vein in there. But so I like this character. And I hope that the little tag there at the end was a hint that we'll see more of him in the future.
Change the channel, Twit. I want to watch wrestling.
So when it comes time to rank this episode, I mean, I know we're still early in the season, so it's a little hard to find the footing of where these episodes rank and kind of getting my mind locked into the style that we're working with and the kind of the caliber of the episodes. But this one sort of fell short for me in a few different ways. Again, it just felt like an origin story of here's this character, here's why he's doing bad things, and Batman trying to stop him. So for those reasons, I put it at the number 3 spot, the bottom of the list right now, and I think it'll probably continue to get pushed down as we add more episodes to this, because it wasn't poorly made, it wasn't poorly executed, just not the type of story that I'm really kind of favor when I'm looking for my favorite episodes of all time in these kind of shows. Although I like the character, I think that if they took this character and put him in another episode, and I don't know, I haven't looked ahead, I don't know if we see this character again, maybe we do, that I think in another situation where it's not just an origin story, I could see it being some fun dynamics of Bruce having to reason with Willie and get to Willie because he can't stop this robot and just punch his way out of this, but he's got to reason with and use that to get to the true source of Willie's anger and dealing with those kinds of things. But this episode in itself I mean, sure, it's only the 3rd episode, but is at the bottom of the list for me so far.
I have a feeling you won't be seeing him for a while.
Which raises the question, if you had a giant robot under your control, what would you do? Would you also get revenge on some of the bullies that mistreated you? Or would you use it to crush up giant cars that you're not using anymore? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this episode, please click the like button. If you want to see more episodes like this, all you have to do is hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done that and you're not being told when the episodes come out, well, first of all, they come out every Tuesday and Thursday. But if you want to be notified by YouTube, just hit that bell icon and they'll let you know every time that I have a new episode coming out, like the next episode as we talk about Meltdown. So be sure to check that one out. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm Andy Knode, and I'll see you soon.